Hello and welcome to my channel, Restaurant Recipe Recreations. This channel is dedicated to teaching you how to create your favorite signature dishes from the most popular restaurants. In this episode, I'm going to teach you how to create Chili's chicken enchilada soup. Now, Chili's first location was in Dallas, Texas, and it was in a converted postal office and is now a global company with restaurants even in the Middle East, Asia, and Africa. So what I have off here to my right are all of the ingredients pre-portioned out for everything that I need to make the soup. Now, in French, this is referred to as mise en place, which translated to everything in its place. And in cooking in general, it's important to do that, to have everything that you need in the amounts that you need right at your fingertips. Because once the cooking process starts, it can go quite quickly. And the last thing that you want is something cooking on the stove too long or burning while you're in another part of the kitchen trying to frantically dice up 3 cups of onion or minced garlic or what have you. And so you want to have everything that you need right there at your fingertips. It just makes the cooking process and the experience faster, more enjoyable, and a lot easier for you. So let's go ahead and get started with Chili's chicken enchilada soup. We're going to coat the bottom, hear that beautiful sizzle, with a nice olive oil, a fat of some kind. You can even use chicken schmaltz, which I sometimes use if I happen to have it. We're going to get that oil nice and hot. Once it comes to a sizzle, we're going to add 3 cups of diced yellow onion. And we're going to add 2 cloves, about 2 large, 3 smaller cloves of grated or minced garlic. Next, we're going to add to this 2 teaspoons of chili powder, 2 teaspoons of ground cumin, a half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. Now don't be afraid, we're going to add 4 cups of liquid to this. So the half a teaspoon of cayenne pepper is not going to make this very spicy. However, if you're like me and you like spicy, go ahead and feel free to kick it up a little bit of a notch and add more. So stir this all around, get these spices and the onions and the garlic well incorporated so that when the onions soften, those flavors are going to meld into the onions and just have a nice paste. We're going to leave this alone for a little while because we want the onions to get soft, translucent, and maybe even a little bit of a brown on them. While those are cooking, I'm going to go ahead and prepare the masa. Now masa, let me show you the masa here. Hello. Masa is a yellow corn flour, often used in Mexican cooking, and it's just delicious. It's a thickener for this soup, and it also gives it that wonderful corn flavor. I have 1½ cups of masa and 1 quart of hot chicken broth. Now it needs to be hot so that the flour, the masa flour, can blend well with it. We're going to whisk it and get all those lumps out. Go ahead and add that in. See how it almost has like a thick paste-like consistency? That's what you want. And now you're going to add your other quarts of chicken stock. After each quart, give it a nice stir. I roasted my own chicken. Kind of a note on that. I always love to roast my own chicken, and then from that I make my own chicken stock. I always say that chicken stock is nothing more than garbage and water because it's everything that you would get rid of normally. See a couple lumps in there. I want to get those lumps out. It's just chicken, you know, the carcasses, the bones, the chicken fat, the chicken skin, any aromatics that you have in your refrigerator. So it would just be the onion or carrots, celery tops, garlic clove, and water. And it just makes for such a nicer flavor. So all told, we have 4 quarts of chicken stock. I'm going to go ahead and raise the heat on this because we want to bring it to a boil. So we're going to go back to high and we're going to wait for this to boil, and then we'll add the rest of the ingredients. Okay, now that this mixture is coming to a nice boil, we're going to go ahead and add 2 cans of fire roasted tomatoes. I like to drain off the liquid when I open the can because I don't want to add any more liquid to this mixture. I just want the fire roasted tomatoes. Now I'm going to add a 16-ounce box, which is the equivalent of 1 pound of cubed Velveeta cheese. I know sometimes Velveeta scares people in the same way that Spam scares people, and you're thinking, good Lord, I'm not going to put shelf-stable cheese into my mix. I'm going to use fresh grated cheddar, which is fine. You would still use the same amount, 1 pound of fresh grated cheddar. But I find that Velveeta is just such a smoother consistency when it melts. It is really the cheese that I find the most appropriate and the best for making cheese soups and also macaroni and cheese. And we're going to stir this until all of the cheese is melted. And you can obviously see when you pull up your spoon whether or not the cheese is melted yet. And it may take a minute. A funny note on chicken enchilada is that if you are a fan of Schitt's Creek, the television show, that originally aired on Pop, now you can find it on Netflix, Moira, the character, the mother, Moira, pronounces enchilada as enchilada. If you are not watching Schitt's Creek, I suggest you watch it. It should be your next binge-worthy show. It's a fun, lighthearted half an hour of hilarious, just laughs. It's fun. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going, since the cheese is well incorporated, we're going to add in, at the very last, 4 cups of fresh roasted and diced chicken. Now I roast my own chicken, as I said, so this comes out to be about 2 medium-sized roasted chicken. And I think each chicken was about 3.5 pounds with bone and everything. Once you roast it and let it cool and pull the chicken, it comes out to be about 4 cups of both white and dark meat. And finally, we're just going to salt and pepper to taste. Now, I like a lot of pepper. Some do, some don't. And then we're going to salt at the very end. Always taste before you salt. My husband, who is a professional chef, says you can always add, but you can't take away. And a lot of the products that we have in this already, like the Velveeta, the roasted tomatoes, even your chicken stock, is going to have some salt in it. And so you just don't want it to be too salty. Always taste it before you add the final salt. I have tasted this, and I think that it really just needs like a smattering of the salt. So I'm not going to put too much in. Even though I have a tendency to like things kind of salty, I'm not going to on this, because that's not, a salty soup is not the flavor profile that I'm looking for. And there you have it. You have your Chili's chicken enchilada, or if you'd rather, Chili's enchilada soup. And I'm going to go ahead and plate it up for you so you can see what the finished product looks like. I'm going to add some corn chips to mine. I like my soup's kind of loaded. And you can, the more you put on it, the more it becomes more of a meal. It's such a hearty soup, and it's just nice and thick and rich that really you can have this as a meal. Just dip some corn chips in it and you're ready to go. I've got some fresh grated cheddar cheese. I have a fire tongue and I love things spicy, so I'm even going to go ahead and add just some fresh jalapeno, some scallion, and a little bit of some fresh cilantro. There you have it. Enjoy. If you have liked this channel and you've gotten something out of it, please feel free to like and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next episode. Cheers, everybody.